This is the Seller Process Podcast, where we talk about the best systems, processes, and SOPs for your Amazon business so that you can regain control of your time, build up your team, and scale your e-com empire.
Hello, entrepreneurs. If you are looking for solutions to improve your most important KPIs and have a system in place to act on these metrics whenever they go off track, then this episode is for you. Our guest today will share with us the four main KPIs we should focus on to run an Amazon business effectively, and what can we do to improve them and bring them back on track if any problems arises. I'm joined today by Marc Jepsen, who started selling on Amazon in 2014 in the supplement and workout categories and has built several brands since then. In 2015, Marc was brought on to run and expand operations of Managed by Stats and has since helped create over 25 tools that are all geared to making selling on Amazon a lot easier. Hey, Marc, how is it going? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Gianmarco. This is I'm happy to share some good knowledge for all your listeners.
For sure. So today, what we're going to talk about is this 4 KPIs. You know, in the pre-interview chat, you told me about these 4, and the one of the main thing actually have 2 objectives for today's conversation. One is that we should bring more focus. We should give focus to people, right? So we're talking about 4 because they're just 4, the most important, not the others. Okay, so we'll soon say what these 4 are, but a big thing I would like to highlight here is that we would like to share people what they should focus on, right? Because people might work on several different KPIs that might not be the needle movers, right? So focus is the very first objective I'd like to stress here, and second is to give a framework or a checklist to what should we do if these 4 metrics fall off the place, right? So if they go off track, what can we do, right? So let's start to dive into the conversation. Let's share with people what these 4 most important KPIs are, and why they are the most important, why we should I'm not saying ignoring the other KPIs, but why these are the ones that
why these 4. Yeah. So I think the first element and kind of speaks to that element of focus. As an Amazon seller, you have to a lot of newer sellers don't quite take this into account when they first get started, and even experienced sellers. You've gotten started, you're selling a bunch of products, you're making revenue, but you still don't quite get this idea of you are the CEO of your Amazon business, right? So you're the one that's going to make or break that business. So you have to take the mindset of being a CEO for your Amazon business. And it might be a side hustle. It might be, something that you're just doing to get started. It might be something that you're doing to just get a little bit extra income, but you have to take that mindset of being the CEO. As the top dog of your Amazon business, there's so many different metrics that Amazon can give you. There's hundreds of reports, hundreds of different metrics inside of those reports. It can get a little bit overwhelming. So selling on Amazon, there's a life cycle of what happens on Amazon. And if you take all of those metrics and distill them down into the minute little things that will actually result in something being changed throughout all of those metrics, we did this, and it distills down to 4 metrics. And that's why we kind of distilled it down to 4, is that as a CEO, you want to have focus. You want to be able to look at certain things and not have to look at 1,000 different things in order to see how your business is doing. And if you have 4 or 5 things, it's really easy to go, okay, check. Doing good, not doing good. Okay, let's look into that area. So every single element of Amazon relates to one of these 4. And we'll just walk through the kind of the Amazon life cycle really quick. Pretty simple, kind of a no-brainer thought process. A person comes to your listing, or they're searching for something first. They want to buy it, right? They have an idea of what they want to buy. They see a bunch of products. They select one that they want. They decide to buy it. If they buy it, Amazon takes their money and then gives you some of that money. And then if the buyer likes it, they leave a review. If they don't like it, they leave a bad review, right? That's kind of the basic process that happens on Amazon. Pretty, simple, right? So if you look at those elements, it breaks down into 4 metrics. Sessions, which is going to be someone looking at your listing. So whether they're looking at it organically or, through some other process, they're coming to your listing and they're seeing your listing. If they like it, if they like what they see, they decide to buy it. They put it in their cart and they purchase it. That's a conversion. So your conversion rate is the second metric. They look at it, now they convert. Okay, now that they've converted, Amazon takes their money, they give some to you and they keep some themselves. That's now your profit. What profit do you get from each sale you get? That's the third metric. There's a lot of elements that go into profit, and we'll go into that in a minute. But that you need to know what your profit is for each sale. And then, of course, reviews. That's the most important make or break element of selling on Amazon, is having good reviews. So if you have those 4 metrics, if you're looking at just those 4, you're going to be able to see what area of your business is going good, going bad, and what you can actually do to handle it.
Yeah, I love it. I love actually the analogy that you make with the different stages of the funnel, right? So the purchase funnel. So sessions, conversions, profits, profitability, and reviews. Yeah, I love that. So let's start with first one, the sessions. How do we maximize our product sessions?
Okay, so there's going to be 2 basic ways. There's other little hacks or tips that you can kind of find out about or do in relation to these 2 ways, but there's 2 basic ways. One is going to be organic, and the other is going to be through paid advertising. On organic, you basically have to look at how can you get your product showing up organically, meaning using Amazon's algorithm. How can Amazon show your product for as much keywords as possible, or as many keywords as possible, right? If you do that smartly, you'll be able to show up organically when someone searches for something and be one of the top products that someone will pick. There's a lot of things that go into doing that, but you have to, there's a little trifecta of elements that I like to kind of reference to. 3 elements that go into this organic ranking. And if you master these elements and study how to do this and work out how to do this and actually constantly watch it, tweak throughout the months or throughout the seasonality, you'll get better and better conversions, right? So the first thing is having keywords that have a high search volume. Amazon uses a term called search frequency rank. It basically means search volume, how popular that keyword is. So if you have keywords that have a high search frequency rank or high search volume in your listing, Amazon will then index you for those keywords and show your product for those keywords organically. That's the first element. So you have to find those, know how to find those, know how to, see which ones are good, which ones are bad. There's long tail, short tail. There's a whole bunch of different elements that go into that. But knowing how to find those high search volume keywords and how to put them into your listing is the first element. Then making sure that Amazon is indexing you for those keywords. So there's obviously TOS elements that go into play where you can't have certain search terms that will negate your being indexed for those keywords. How do you get those keywords put into certain parts of your product, your title, your bullets, description, the back-end search terms, this kind of stuff, in a way that's going to be the best, most optimized way. So that's the second element, making sure you take those keywords and build them in smartly to your listing so that Amazon will show, or Amazon's computer, their A9 algorithm, will look at all those keywords and make sure that your product is showing up when someone searches for those keywords. Second element there. The third element is ties into advertising, but it's before you do your advertising, which is seeing how you are ranking for those keywords. And this is an interesting point, because if you have search terms that are very, very high search volume and very relevant to your listing, but you're not showing up organically on a ranking for those keywords, it means that there's some element on step 1 and 2 that is a little bit off. Amazon has not registered, their system has not registered that you should be showing up for those keywords that have a high search volume and are very relevant to your product. So, okay, if you know this third element, if you're not seeing your ranking for any of these high search volume keywords, you know you've done something a little bit wrong or you've missed something on these 2 other points. If you are showing up for high search volume keywords, okay, great. You now know that Amazon sees that you are relevant and potentially able to get a sale on these keywords. Okay, now that you have those 3 points in, you're going to be getting lots of sessions to your product because Amazon sees that you're relevant. They see that this is a high search volume keyword. A lot of people are searching it, and they see that, oh, okay, this product is likely able to get a conversion. For Amazon's sake, you got to remember, Amazon works for Amazon. They don't work for you as a seller. They're going to want to see what products can get the best conversions so that they can get paid, and then they give you your cut, right? So you kind of have to think with these 3 elements. And if you have those kind of massaged into your listing, Amazon is going to show your product organically and show your product better in advertising. But we'll go into that a little bit later.
Okay, perfect. So obviously a session ties with organic ranking and sponsored ranking. So it's the number of visits that our product page gets, right?
Yep.
So guys, and in every episode of this podcast, you may know already that we share some complementary material. So this time, Marc is sharing with us a number of checklists, actually 4 checklists, one for each KPI that we're mentioning, where you will find different kind of information about how to improve and how to troubleshoot each of these metrics. But let's touch a little bit with some of them. So what can we do if we see our sessions dropping? Let's just give 1 or 2 tips for people to bring home.
So the first thing would be, I would look at the first element I would look at is your listing live? Pretty kind of dumb point, but Amazon sometimes will suppress a listing. Is your listing live? Okay. There's other simple data, did you get a bad review, et cetera, et cetera. But some little tips are, okay, look at your competitors. See if they change their images or their titles or their price since you last looked at it, and see if theirs shows up a little bit nicer, a little bit better, a little bit a different keyword in their title. If their image is a little bit more popping than yours. Because remember, when someone searches on Amazon, they're looking at a whole bunch of different listings. The one that pops out the best, they're going to click on. One that catches their eye, they're going to click on, right? So that's a key element there. Another tip is popularity. A lot of people don't think with this. If you have certain search terms that you're ranking well for, and you go, okay, these are high search volume keywords, that might change. Keywords have seasonality. Throughout the year, different keywords are more have a higher popularity than others. And so you might be seeing your sessions going down and not knowing why. You didn't get any bad reviews, your listing's still live, things look great, but there could be an actual seasonality to that search term. There could be other search terms that are getting more popular about that product that you weren't thinking with 6 months ago when you created your listing. And so you have to look at seasonality. Is that search volume going down? Are other related search volumes, other keywords that are related to that one going up? So maybe you take one of those other keywords, put it in a more priority spot in your listing, and then you can start to see more sessions. So that's another little tip you can apply.
Okay, that's great. So guys, remember to download this checklist at thesellerprocess.com. Find it in the show notes or in the description of the YouTube video. Okay, so let's move on, to the next step of the purchase funnel, right? So it's the conversion rates, the conversion of the product when people buy it. So how do we make sure that we increase conversion, and what if our conversion rates are not as good as we would like to?
Absolutely. So I think one of the first things that we should do is really define what conversion rate is. If you're an Amazon seller and you don't have some kind of software that shows you your conversion rate, you might be a little bit lost on trying to find out what your conversion rate is. And that's because Amazon actually calls it something else. They call it unit session percentage. So it's kind of it's kind of confusing to me, even that word. So that metric is your conversion rate. So basically what that is essentially how many units you sold divided by how many people are looking at your product, right? So if you have a 20% conversion rate, that means you sold 20 units for every 100 people viewing your product, okay? So that's the first element. You need to be able to track this. So inside of Seller Central, there's ways that you can see this metric. There's graphs that you can see, but you need to be able to see this with a little bit more of exterior kind of view. And what I mean by that is you have to not just look at a product and what its conversion rate is and maybe see a graph for that. You have to be able to see how that product is doing as a group. If you have more than multiple products, you have to be able to see how that group of products is doing, but you also need to see what your conversion rate is for your whole account. If you have one product, okay, that's pretty simple. 1 for 1, that's going to make sense. If you have 3 products, that conversion rate, you want to see what that conversion rate is for your entire account, and you want to be able to see what it is for each individual product, and then be able to compare that with your other metrics. So you have to be able to kind of have some kind of software that actually shows that to you, makes it a little bit easier. Things that you can do to actually increase your conversion rate. There's some very smart marketing tips that Amazon sellers will learn over time. And some of these you might know, some of these you probably never heard of. The first really smart tip is speaking to your audience. As selling a product, that product has certain types of audiences, certain types of people that will want to purchase that product. And their lifestyles are going to be very different. You're going to have, a single mom. You're going to have the woman who's an entrepreneur or a business executive, right? They're going to have different lifestyles, and if you speak to those different lifestyles, you're likely to have a better conversion because it's a marketing point of how can you communicate this feature or element of your product to that type of person so that when they read it, they convert faster, right? So there's that little audience, speaking to your audiences. The other element that many sellers don't think with, it's funny, I see this all the time. When people create their listing, they're going through a process of how to create that listing, and they look at, okay, how can they make this product better than the other ones out there? Some little element that's going to make it better than the competitors, right? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make your product better so that people will buy it, right? Instead of buying the 1,400 other products that are like that. When they do that, they're building out in their bullet points or their title or description all the different features that make it better or different than the other product that looks very similar, right? But what they don't do is actually list the benefits. And you have to, it's a marketing point as well, listing out the feature, but how that feature will benefit the person. And if you couple that, speaking with, let's say it's got 3 USB ports, if it's some electrical item, right? 3 USB ports compared to the average person who has 1, right? So that's your feature. But how does that benefit the person using it? Can they plug in 3 monitors now? Can they, whatever it is, you speak to the benefit as well. Take that datum and now couple it with your audience types. So if you have a certain type of person that might want to use it in that way, speak to the feature, the benefit, and the audience. And you can do that in all of your different bullet points. So this is a way that you can get better conversions because now you're speaking to a different type of people that are likely to buy your product and getting them to go, oh, that's a great point. I can use that, and it'll help solve a problem for them or make it more desirable to get your product over others.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. It makes sense. And this is actually a topic that comes up in almost every single episode, like speaking to the customer, knowing who is your customer, right? And you guys can find, some previous episode where we talk about specifically how to find, your customer avatar. So this is definitely one of the most important thing. And definitely it's one of the main points to address when we want to increase conversion rates. Definitely.
Yep.
All right. So guys, you remember that you can always find, more inputs, more ways to improve your conversion rates, or find, solutions if if you see conversion rates going down in the complementary material that we're giving with this episode. So remember to go download it. So then the next phase of the funnel is basically when we convert, and the third KPI you mentioned is profitability, right? So when Amazon, takes some of it, as you mentioned, and give us part of the purchase price to us. So how do we make sure we increase the amount of money that we get in, we pocket?
Okay, so this is probably the metric that is the hardest to really nail down for a lot of sellers, unless you have some kind of software like Managed by Stats where it really breaks down all the details. There's so many different elements that get taken out of the revenue and out of what actually Amazon's going to end up paying you as your profit, that a lot of sellers think with the main elements. They see Amazon's taking their cut. They see advertising, your cost of goods. But there's also a bunch of different fees that Amazon doesn't break down for you. They it's kind of clumped together. So seeing how those break down, but also seeing for each product that you have, Amazon gives you a payout. It's one payout. It's a summary of all your different transactions. You get a summary of, okay, this is what you made. This is what Amazon's taking. This is your advertising. This is what we're paying you. But how does that break down by product? It's very hard to see that. It's very hard to see which product is maybe getting spending more on advertising, which product is getting less profit per sale. So you have to be able to break this down. So that's what we did inside of Managed by Stats, where you actually have every single product that you have. It breaks down that summary from Amazon. It breaks it down to the penny, so you can see which product is actually getting eating up too much profit. And so you have to be able to look at all these different elements: your cost of goods, your shipping costs, overseas shipping to Amazon, Amazon's multitude of fees, their inventory fees, storage fees, shipping fees, seller 15% fee or 20% fee, depending on what category you're in. So there's all these different fees that you have to be able to break down and see. Of course, your sales price takes a very important factor in there, right? What you're selling it for, how high can you go, or how low can you go before you lose all your profit? And then, of course, your advertising, your business expenses, et cetera, et cetera. You have to take all of this into account and be able to break it down by product. If you can't do that, you're going to see numbers in Amazon that go, oh, great, you made all this revenue. But what you end up with in your bank account is going to be a lot less. And what you can actually take from that for fund money is going to be even more less. So you have to be able to break this down and see which one's actually eating up too much, and then go from there.
Yeah, for sure. I see that happening all the time. People with multiple products might end up having, one leading product, a hero SKU that it's generating most of the revenue and profits, and then maybe they have a few other SKUs that are actually draining and taking money out. They're just consuming. They might be unprofitable. So if you guys don't have like a good way to track profitability by product, then you might run into the potential problem to have a product that is just sucking cash from the whole company, and that could be a good way, a good time to just scale the product, and you reinvested the money that you get from it in other more profitable products. Obviously,
and being able to see being able to see there's a term that's thrown out in the Amazon community, your TACOS, total ACOS. Being able to see that per product is going to be one of the most important metrics that you'll want to learn and be able to track. And you have no way of checking that inside of Seller Central. So being able to see that by product, it'll easily help you make that decision. Oh man, this product is eating up too much, and it has been for a year now. So okay, makes sense. Okay, let's not restock that one. Let's go find something else that's going to be better.
Yeah, for sure. That's very important. All right, so we've got now the last KPI to discuss. It's reviews, also like super important. What is wondering what is a healthy review rate, and how can we increase that?
Yeah, so that's a complicated question in that it really just depends on what category you're in. So depending on the category that you're selling in, if you're in multiple categories for multiple different products, they're each going to have a review rate that's going to be a healthy review rate for that category. And it really just comes down to how are your competitors doing in that area. Kind of a clear example of this could be electronics, right? Selling electronics, there's a higher probability of technical errors or glitches or software problems or whatever it is. So you could probably have a 4 to 4.5 star rating in a electronics category. That's going to be healthy. If you're within that range, you're great. If you go to 3.9, no one's going to buy you, right? Whereas maybe supplements, you're most likely going to have a 4.5 to 5 star rating for all the top products. So you're going to have something that's going to be at that 4.5 or up to 5.0 in order to be healthy in that category. So it really depends on your competitors. So if you have a very niche product and you're going to sell specifically to this certain type of buyer, okay, look at what your competitors have. If you are going to be on par with those guys or better, you're golden.
Yeah, for sure. I'm wondering actually also about the review velocity. That's I think what I meant. How many reviews per X number, per 100, for example, 100 orders do you see? It's a healthy metric.
Yeah. Okay. Good question. So I would probably say, realistically, probably a 20% would be fair. If you have 100 orders and you're getting 20 people, that's probably going to be good. A lot of categories don't quite get that, but I would say try to reach that 20% range, maybe 15, 20%. That's probably going to be good. But there's that kind of goes into this next point on reviews, which a lot of people don't necessarily think with. When you're looking at reviews, you can't just look at your star rating, and you can't just look at your number of reviews. In some categories, many categories, you can get your product. Let's say your competitors are all doing 1,000 reviews. They have 1,000 reviews or more. You might think, okay, man, that's really hard to compete with. But realistically, if you get up to about 200, 300 reviews, you can be on par with those guys. You can kind of play in their arena. Obviously, getting up to 1,000 fast would be vital, so you can kind of be at the top of the list of those guys. But competing in that category, you can jump in with a couple hundred reviews. You obviously need to build up to that fast, but you can kind of play that game with them. So if you look at your star rating, your number of reviews, and then how many reviews you're getting in, how many new customers you're getting, and then what the review rate is for how many reviews you're getting per new customers, that's going to give you the total picture of your reviews, right? So being able to see those 3 metrics broken out for each product, again, for your whole account, for groups of products or individual products, being able to see all three of those metrics is going to give you the real picture of how reviews are actually influencing or controlling your profit, your income, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay, exactly. I like the point you made that it's important for everyone to look at these 4 metrics at an account level and also by product level, or by group level. Like if you have if you're just for example selling on a specific niche, or you have like a parent ASIN with lots of child variations. So that's very important, to break down these metrics on in general, knowing what those parameters are in general and what they are on a SKU level. So that's very important. So because we don't have too much time, to list every, way to increase all these metrics, you guys remember that you can find the checklist in our website, thesellerprocess.com. Find this episode and download it, or in the description of the YouTube video. Okay, so you will find the link and you will download all the checklists that Marc is sharing with us. So Marc, we have our last question. It's our signature question. What is your best advice to achieve more with less when it comes to making data-based decisions?
Love it. I think the key element here is getting rid of analysis paralysis, right? Being able to focus your attention on certain things and 5 or less things that then tell you which direction you need to go into. A lot of times you have Amazon sellers that will you see your sessions going down, or your profit going down, or your sales going down, whatever it is, and you kind of scramble to find out what changed, what happened, what area caused the problem. Knowing these 4 metrics, you can just go, okay, good. If something happened here, I know what areas affect this KPI, and go look in those areas. And same thing for all the 3 things. You now have a guiding something to guide your attention to what areas of your business might be causing that down statistic. So that would be the kind of key element, is really having a way to see these metrics, having a way to be notified of these metrics if something's going down, so you don't have to constantly be logging into something and checking it all the time. And knowing then having a checklist or having some kind of routine that you can then go do to check which area of your business is causing the problem, and be able to find that area. And then basically what that enables you to do is have a certainty of making decisions to then make yourself more profitable, because there's so many things that you can do on Amazon. There's so many things you can change or affect that affect different parts of your business. But finding the right one that's actually causing the statistic to go down, you're going to know that you can actually make a change, and that decision is going to be the right decision to handle your statistics and get them going back up.
Love it. Okay, that's great advice for sure. So you have obviously a tool that helps in dealing with that. So let people know how can you help them, and what can you offer? How can they reach out to you if they would like to learn more?
Awesome. So Managed by Stats has a dashboard, a built-out dashboard for every client that covers these 4 KPIs. And we have notifications that you can set up that are what we call smart notifications, basically looking at your metrics, your sales, each of these KPIs, and you can set up smart notifications based off of these 4 to be able to get notified if one of them is going down, if one of them goes down by a certain percent. You can set these up so that they are customized for your business. And again, you can set them up on an account level, and then you can create them for groups of products and all the way down to individual products. So now you can be notified, if something's happening with your entire business, or if something's happening with one particular product and it's dropping on one of these KPIs, you can get a notification, email or text, and then be able to dive in, find out what caused the problem, go and fix it, and then go back to doing what you're doing, right? So we made this as automated as possible, so that as a manager, you don't have to constantly be diving in and looking at all the different elements of your business. As a CEO of your Amazon business, you want to be looking at how do you expand? How do you add new products? How do you eke out more profit from each of your products? And you have to kind of work on your business, not in your business, right? So this allows you to kind of go, okay, good, set up everything, have all your details inside of there, And now you can just be working on promotion, marketing, finding new products, partnering, going to masterminds, whatever it is. And then if something is going wrong, you get notified, you jump in, you find the area that's actually causing it. You have a little checklist, you can go through it. If you have VAs or partners, you can get them set up on this as well, so they can then start going and checking those things and handling them. It makes it a lot easier to automate and see what's happening with your business, and then take the right actions, really having certainty that, okay, this is something that you kind of know where you need to go, and you can go, okay, I know I need to go handle that area. That makes sense. You handle it, you'll start to see that metric going back up, and you're golden.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And guys, remember that you always can get some, like you can try the Managed by Stats. There's an offer that Marc is sharing with us. You can go to managedbystats.com/thesellerprocess. Okay, so managedbystats.com/thesellerprocess. We'll put it also in the show notes, and you will get a discount for 6 months. I think it's about 20%, 15-20%. So you will find all the details in the show notes, and you'll find the links there. So if you would like to try the tool, you can use this discount so to make it easier for you. All right, so thank you, Marc, so much for sharing these tips with us. We'll probably repeat this with some others. So I know you know a lot about Amazon, so we'll probably see each other again here.
Love it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So guys, remember, the key to success is to emulate the best. So now it's your turn. Take action on the tips that Marc just shared with us, and go download the complimentary material that you can find on our website, thesellerprocess.com. And I'll see you in the next episode. Have a productive week. Hey, entrepreneurs, I hope you enjoyed the episode and learned something from the interview. If you're serious about creating systems for your business, automating processes, and building up your team, so that you can transfer the tedious daily tasks in order to focus on more high-level strategic tasks and work on your business and not in your business, I've created a guide for Amazon sellers named Capturing Systems and Creating SOPs that you can find at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook, where you will learn how to leverage systems and SOPs in your Amazon business so that you can accomplish more by working less, optimize your time, automate and delegate tasks, and reap the benefits of being a true business owner and not simply an operator in your own business. Go download the ebook at thesellerprocess.com/systems ebook and start implementing all the tips and insights that I share with you. And leave us a review or a comment to let us know how the content we are sharing here is making an impact in your business. And have a productive week.